big news out of the metal world. Ghost has come out with a new album. The question is, does it live up to the high standards that Ghost has set for itself? Is it ghostly or is it ghastly? Find out next. Welcome, metal enthusiasts, to another episode of The Metal Dude Abides. Tonight, we are going to take a look at the brand new album from the band Ghost, Skeleta. This is my first time reviewing a brand new Ghost album. For those of you who may or may not be aware, I am a recent Ghost convert. I'd kind of not given Ghost much of a chance until I went to see the movie right here, right now, last summer, and came away smitten. So this is actually the first time I've experienced a brand new Ghost album. And the thought as I was leading up to this big release occurred to me that way back in I think it was right in 2019, I made an interesting decision in my life. All my coworkers and friends were all getting excited for the very last season of Game of Thrones. And so I decided I wanted to get in on all the fun. So I ordered my HBO Max and I binged watched all the seasons of Game of Thrones and got caught up to embrace the final season. I was listening to podcasts. I was doing all my homework so I would be ready for that final season and I would be able to share it with all my friends. And then the last season made everybody mad. Wasn't much of a party I'd got myself into. Another story that it kind of tells this tale was, I remember one time, me and my friends liked to be fashionably late to parties, but one time we came into this party. There was chaos everywhere. There was a keg floating in the swimming pool. They were carrying one of our best friends out, completely unconscious, and it was one of those moments where you go, what did we miss? So here it is. Whenever you jump on a bandwagon, whenever you come into a scene, you don't want to be late to the party. In other words, you don't want to have missed all the good stuff. And the minute you show up, things are already starting to, the punches run out and people are starting to, get in fights and whatnot. So it was a little bit of trepidation that I do this review because is Ghost, have we seen the best of Ghost, right? Am I getting in again at the very tail end once all the fun's over? Or does Ghost still have a lot of creative juice left in the tank? We're going to find out with this album. As if you've ever seen one of our album reviews, we're just going to go track by track and tell you what I think. Let's get started. All right, the new Ghost album, Skeleta, is the debut from the new Papa number 5, Papa Perpetua. I hope I'm even coming close to saying that correctly. This will be his debut. So right off the bat, the first song on here is a song called Peacefield. And it starts off with this kind of boys choir kind of intro. Right off the bat, it just gives this song and this album kind of that atmosphere that this is going to be epic, right? There's nothing more haunting than a boys choir. I don't know. It's just one of those unique sounds that everybody around the world goes, ooh, that is chilling. But as soon as that ends, man, you break right into that iconic Ghost type riffing that right away you know this is a Ghost song. Really love the transition from that creepy atmosphere to just this wonderful Tobias Forge riff. I thought this was interesting. The kind of the theme of this song is "Stick with me to the end," which was very similar to their very last song, which kind of had that "hold on to me" till the very end. That was on the song "The Future is a Foreign Land," so kind of a continuation of that song in a sense. The other thing that kind of struck me about this song is it reminded me a ton, I don't know why, but it reminded me a ton of Journey. And that is not an insult. That is not a slight. Journey, one of the best melodic hard rock bands that have ever walked planet Earth. The riffing on this really reminded me of some of the stuff Neil Schon was doing. Neil Schon, one of the all-time greats. Great solo in the song. The drums are excellent. This album gets off to a hot start. Ghost released 3 singles prior to releasing this album. The second of those singles is also the second song on this album. Again, apologies for pronunciation. Lacroma. Always a challenge with Ghost albums as they break into Latin and all sorts of things that are going to give me trouble. But this was probably, of the 3 singles that came out, this was my favorite one. This was the one that really got me excited for the album. Again, a great opening riff to this song, but a much heavier riff than, say, on the first song, Peacefield. But this is one of those classic Ghost songs that's probably going to be a huge hit for them, because that chorus is going to get stuck in your head for weeks. I find myself just singing that chorus all over the place. I'm like, why am I thinking about this song? You know, I'm at work or I'm driving or whatever, and this song just keeps pouring into my head. Super, super catchy. Excellent job. And finally, in the video for this song, you see the new Papa, and he's got wings, and they are badass. I really like the new details around the new Papa, and one of the things I appreciate the most, he's like standing on a tombstone or whatever, and he just spreads out those wings. He looks badass. So really like that. Really like, so not only do I like the song, I also really like the video. So the album gets off to a great start, but it actually ramps up here. One of my favorite songs on the entire album. As I said in my intro, I am a relatively new fan of Ghost. And so forgive me as I try to go into the lore a little bit, because, you know, there are people that have, you know, doctrinal statements about the legends of Ghost and all the things that have happened in their lore. But this song has a very interesting twist to it. The third song on here was their lead single, Satanized. And one of the things that I've noticed about this song that's a little bit different is that it really takes a different angle on being a vampire, on being a demon, on being on that side of the spiritual battle. This Papa seems to have regrets. He has doubts. I don't know what Tobias is up to as he tells the story of the new Papa, but I can't stop thinking about the fact that this Papa, whose name Perpetua, right, could be plotting the end of the ministry. This guy, is he going to be a betrayer? I don't know. I might be way out on a limb. I might be sawing the branch off that I'm standing on, but it seems as though, if I'm trying to read the tea leaves here of what Tobias is trying to say in this song, is, listen, if you go back, let me just say, I am a huge fan of the actor Gary Oldman, and 20 years ago I had quite the crush on Winona Ryder. So obviously I went and saw the probably 90s, early 90s Dracula movie, right? And there's a scene where Gary Oldman discovers his long-lost love and attempts to go and bring her in to become a vampire like himself. And there's a moment where he goes and he draws the blood and he's ready for Winona to join him in eternity. He says, no, I can't do this to you. I love you too much, because he doesn't like who he is. He knows he's a monster. He's miserable. He has to live. Think about this with vampires or demons, right? They explored this in an interview with the vampire too. It's eternal life on Earth, and it can be quite lonely. It can be quite miserable. So this song seems to really bring out the regret and are we on the right side of things? And I don't like the monster I become. It's tearing me up. I don't know how to cure myself. Like I said, a lot going on in this song. I'm going to go out on a limb. I might be completely half-cocked here, but is this the start of a new conscious with the new Papa that throws out the old ways and betrays the family? I don't know. We're gonna have to follow this one. Like I said, I'm a noob. I'm new to the tea leaves, folks. Could be way off here, but there's something brewing here, and those little tidbits are scattered throughout the entire album. We follow up the song Satanized with another song called Guiding Lights. The first three songs have been absolute bangers. This one's going to step back. We're going to have the first ballad on the album. But it seems again like it's continuing the theme from Satanized in that there seems to be like, this is the direction we're going, but it's never too late to change that direction. And maybe, again, doubt is creeping in. The story behind Papa Perpetua here is that he is the half-brother of and identical, very convenient, of the last Papa Prater, whatever his name was. And so here you have, like, where has this Papa been, this half-brother, right? And there's hints, even back again to the Satanized video, of him fighting this and not wanting this. And even when he first appears, he has his hands up above his face, like almost in shame. And here again, there's this beautiful ballad that talks about maybe it's not too late to change your ways. Again, is this going to be the great betrayal? Okay. Enough about the lore. Let's get back to the music. The next song is another one that I probably will butcher the name of. De Profundis Borealis. And after the softer, lighter ballad, we get into a much heavier, maybe the heaviest song on the album. It's got that heavy galloping riff, complete with, in the background, there's like this sinister whispering. Really goes back to a heavier vibe on here. I failed to mention the fact that on Satanized, just an amazing guitar solo. The guitar work on this album throughout is really good. Here, though, the drums on this song, whenever you say, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to go for that metal galloping beat in a song, you got to bring the drums or it doesn't work. Here, Tobias just kills it on the drums. And then at the very end of it, we have kind of this ominous ending where it's like monks chanting in the background, and that's what brings us out. Kind of interesting. You have like that, choir boy beginning. Now you have these monks chanting. Again, it just adds to the atmosphere of this album. As far as this album goes so far, just tremendous stuff. This song, I guess you would consider it more of a deep track. It's not one of the singles, mid-album. One of the best tracks on the entire album. Really dig this song right here. If you've ever watched any of my album reviews, I'm going to tell you my favorite tracks, and you have to say maybe my least favorite track. Like, all the songs on this album are really good, but this is probably my least favorite track. The track is Sinotap. Again, who knows if I'm saying half these words correctly. This song really starts out good. It's got a heavy, ominous intro, good riffs, really sets that atmosphere, but then it kind of meanders. It kind of lulls into a nothing burger, right? Like, I'm expecting this to be really heavy. It kind of just is. It ends up kind of being one of the lighter songs on the entire album. So it kind of tricks you into thinking, ooh, we're going heavy here. And then he kind of backs away from that. Still a good song, but I would say of all the tracks on the new album, this would be my least favorite. Oh, Tobias, why do you do this to me? These titles, I'm going to give this a try. Missilia Amorai. I think what it means is love rockets. Missiles and amore is love. So translated into Love Rockets. And I guess I understand why you would name your song Missilia Amorai, because it sounds so much better than Love Rockets. But anyway, that beside the point. Another catchy deep track on here with a really good crunchy solo. This song is a nice bounce back. Again, the last song, didn't really like it that much, and so this song comes back, and again with it's kind of a love song in the Ghostly way, but I really dig it. Nice change of pace before what is going to be an epic ending. This is going to kind of the last kind of happy moments of the album. We're in love. Hey, I'm pursuing the love of my life, because things are going to take a dark turn after this. All right. No more light-hearted fare. No more love songs. No more cheesy ballads. This album is about to get heavier. It's about to get darker. It's about to get more sinister. This is my favorite stretch of songs on the entire album. Obviously, I'm a heavy metal guy, so I like it when Ghost gets a little more dark, a little more heavy. Here is my favorite stretch. So, the first song, Marks of the Evil One, is a song about the apocalypse. In fact, they're talking about the four horsemen that ride in on the apocalypse. And in the chorus is almost like a warning of here they come, dangers afoot. Really like this song. I do find it kind of hilarious. This is a very, when you start talking about the apocalypse of the world, that's a pretty heavy subject. And somehow Ghost puts the seriousness of that forward, but does it in such a peppy way. Such a catchy tune to a very serious topic. But as I said, this is where this album, to me, goes from good to great. These next few songs are absolute bangers. Let's get to the next one. All right, here we are. Song number 9. My favorite song on the entire album, Umbra. I love this song. If you are familiar with the works of John Carpenter, he made a lot of great movies way back in the early 80s, but he was kind of famous for kind of having that creepy kind of music, synthesizer music in all of his movies. Think about Halloween, Halloween 2, The Thing, Escape from New York. This guy put out a bunch of classics and really classic soundtracks that went along with it. Here we start off with one of those like creepy organ musics to start the song off that just reminds me of John Carpenter. Really great start, really sets the atmosphere for this song. But then the song has some real sophistication to it. You have kind of a dueling solo between the guitars and the organ music. Up to this point, great riffs, great drums, but this is really the first time I think they've effectively used that synthesizer organ music to blend in with the guitars and the drums. This has just that epic feel of like that classical bent to a song. I have, made a top 10 list of Ghost songs in the past. This song, I think I would put it in around 7 or 8 on that list. That's how good it is. A very deep track. You have to get all the way towards the end, but you want to hear this song. It is brilliant. The album closes with Excelssis. And it's a ballad at the end of the album, which I always think is a bit of an odd choice. Usually you have like a real barn burner to finish an album with, but there's a reason again why Tobias goes this way. Because yes, it is a ballad, but it is an epic ballad. I think it's the longest song on the entire album, and it just has that epic feel. And the reason it's the closer is because it's got a thematic theme of the end. Death comes to us all. And that's kind of the theme of this song. So it's, again, appropriate, I guess, to end the album with that. And once again, I'm intrigued by this final line. I Am Afraid of Eternity Too. This is a person who has fear, potentially, of what side of the spiritual war him and his family have taken side with. I can't, again, I might be making him out of a molehill. We may be looking at this video in a couple of years and being embarrassed at how far off the mark I was in trying to analyze the lyrics and where this Papa and where this album fits into Ghost lore. But I don't remember listening to Ghost songs where they were in any way questioning the direction of their lives. They were all in the direction they were going. This Papa, I have a feeling, there's going to be some twists, there's going to be some turns, and when the Papa decides to betray everyone, it may not end too well for him, which makes the name Papa Perpetua potentially a harbinger of an ironic name for this poor fella. Anyway, those are the tracks. Let me give you my closing thoughts on the album. Overall, I think Skeleta is a very good album from the band Ghost. I don't think that there's that classic song that's going to fall into like the Square Hammer lore where it's like in that debatable top 2 or 3 songs, but that's not a shot on this album. Ghost has a very formidable list of great songs. So that this one doesn't have like an instant, yeah, that's going to compete to be in the top 5. Not a knock on this album at all. One of the things I do like about this album is the consistency from start to finish. Sometimes Ghost albums, while they have those big epic hits, they also kind of have songs that fall flat here and there. This album, consistent from start to finish. Really like the pacing of this album. The ballads are placed very well. When they have a ballad, they always come back with something a little heavier. And again, that close is fantastic. A couple of gems on this album. Obviously, Lacroma could be considered maybe sliding into that back end of the top 10. Very catchy song. It'll be interesting to see if this song really catches on. It's a very good one. Of course, Umbra is my personal favorite. I think that song definitely is going to slip into my top 10 all-time Ghost songs. Again, looks like around that 7 or 8 spot for Umbra. Just a brilliant piece of music by Tobias. And then Marks of the Evil One, another great deep track. And then I can't stop talking about Excelssis, an amazing closing track that really, again, I think is going to drop some big hints as to the character development of old Papa number 5. I think we'll look back when we see the story that they tell with the Papa Perpetua. Oh boy, that's going to be a rough one. Can we get a tongue twister there, Tobias? But anyway, I think as we learn more about this Papa and this story unfolds, this song is going to have a huge key that could bring it back into classic status when it's all over. So bottom line, my question at the beginning of this, is the party over? Definitely not. Ghost still is putting out fantastic music, great music, a few surprises here and there, a few hints here and there that keep everything sounding new and fresh. This is not the same old. That's one of the tricks that Ghost has had of having the longevity that they have been able to maintain. Every album's a little bit different. They throw in some twists, they throw in some turns, they throw in a new Papa, and off we go. Really interested to see where this goes. Really looking forward to their big tour that's coming up. Kind of intriguing, their tour, if you haven't been following this. They are going to basically disallow cell phones. I don't know if you have been to a major event lately, but it's just a sea of people holding up phones, recording and watching the concert on their phones. Tobias says, no, not at my concert. So they're literally going to confiscate phones coming in the arena. They'll keep them for you, or just leave them in the car if you don't want them taking your phone. Really interesting stuff. But so I imagine their tour is going to have lots of twists, lots of turns, and lots of visually stunning material. So 2024 is looking like a fantastic year for the band Ghost. And it starts right here with a great album, Skeleta. And that's this week's episode. If you are excited about this new Ghost album, give me a thumbs up. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We do album reviews from time to time. We did a movie review way back when on Ghost, so there's a few Ghost-related videos in the catalog. Make sure to go onto the channel and check them out. But also, if you're new to the channel, we're also doing a historical run through the history of heavy metal. Right now, we're smack dab in the year 1983. So if you want to hear what was happening in metal, those many years, what are we talking about? 41 years ago? Tune into the channel as well. We're going to go all the way. We started in the late 60s. We're going to go all the way to current day, to 2020, whatever it is. And we're going to take it all the way from Jimi Hendrix to Ghost. So if that interests you, please subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be alerted to all of our new content. We come out every Tuesday. Hope to see you there. In the meantime, this is the Metal Dude signing off. Take care.